make sure that you have everything that you need in your space. If you want a journal and a pen, if you want a cup of tea or some water, I hope you already have that. Um, and if you need to use the restroom, this would be a good time to go ahead and do that. And we will take a break. Um, we will take a break before we do the meditation. So pretty much the order of things. I'm going to open with the prayer of light, and then I'll give an introduction and we'll have a little conversation. If you have any questions, again, please press the raise hand in the reactions. Um, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. So from there, we're going to go into some really basic yoga movements. I'll guide you verbally because it's not ever going to be about how it looks. It's only ever going to be about how it feels and connecting with yourself. And we're really working with, this new moon energy to kind of plant some seeds, working with the energy to I like this visualization of planting seeds, especially like, right now because it's springtime and it's like, yeah, and that's kind of how things happen when we are setting intentions or setting goals or working on manifestations. It's like we're planting a seed. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's something that we have to cultivate and we have to participate in its growth and nurture it. And so that's what I really love these practices for. Just to give a basic introduction on a new moon determination meditation. It's so interesting because I used to get very intimidated at doing practices like this. I don't know if intimidated is the right word. For me, it was the right word. And I'm seeing kind of a similar resistance. And I get it. I totally get it. The thought of like, you know, establishing a daily meditation practice for 2 minutes a day, we get sidetracked. Other things become important, old habits come into play, we get sidetracked. And so we need to have the determination, the intention, the determination. We have to build the willpower. Willpower is not infinite. As a matter of fact, it's quite finite. It's why, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you pass those brown butter chocolate chip cookies and you're like, no, I'm good. I don't want one. And then, it hits 8 o'clock in the evening and you're like, give me the box, because willpower is actually finite. And so when you're establishing goals and you're planting those seeds, there needs to be an energy of participation with it. And so we have to be really intentional and aware of what's fueling that energy. This is what I've learned is the secret sauce to manifesting. So what that means, I think the best way to walk into this is through Gabrielle Ottengen's WHOOP program. So Gabrielle Ottingen is a professor of psychology at NYU and also the University of Hamburg. She also happens to be a princess. How freaking cool is that? Anyway, so she is a professor of psychology and she did research, really in-depth research, looking at why is it if all that we needed to do was creatively visualize the best outcome that we wanted. And now let's layer in some Abraham Hicks here, right? Like, hence, energetically aligning with all of the magnificent abundance that is awaiting us in the infinite universe of possibilities. If all that we needed to do was visualize this, why then aren't more people living their best life? And why are they struggling so much? And why are they suffering so much? And this is all of us because, we come into life with an energetic stamp of a life purpose, and that's called our dharma. And this is why astrology, I find it to be such a valuable tool because astrology is like your energetic DNA. So you can actually look and use it as a guide as to like what your dharma is, what your challenges are, aka your karma that you come into this life. And so, okay, so you have these patterns that you're born with. And so you come into this life and you're birthed to family, to parents, to certain socioeconomic status, all of the factors that you need to bring your karmic journey to life. So it's kind of like triggering factors, I guess you could say, in a sense. So, okay, so you're born into this life and then you gather some information and then you step into adulthood and now you're not living according to your parents' choices anymore. You have the residual of your experience of your parents' choices, but now you have your own choices to make. And you start basing your choices off of the information that you have and off of the world that you can sense around you. See, so if you're already like, wait a minute, what? Exactly. It's like a kaleidoscope. There's so many factors. It's like a kaleidoscope, and it's really beautiful and it's really interesting. And it's when you can kind of train yourself to sit back and see through that multifaceted reality that is life without trying to hold on to all of it or trying to collect all of it or trying to push away certain parts of it, but kind of getting into this freedom, this breathing, this releasing of allowing. So it's this very wonderful, beautiful, brilliant dance of doing and not doing and aligning ourselves with the art of allowing. Well, before we plant seeds, we have to clear the weeds, right? You've got to clear the space. You've got to nourish the soil so you can plant the seeds. But we are planting seeds in weedy gardens, meaning we have all of this karmic, dharmic stuff that we're birthed with, and then we have our life experiences, our patterns. We have patterns, like don't please, like if you get offended with things like, people are conditioned because we are, because that's how our brain works, right? And we have all of these neural pathways, and we because we have repetitive patterns, we stay in specific neural pathways, but when we can interrupt those neural pathways but just by different, as simplistic as if you usually sleep on the right side of the bed, sleep on the left side. Okay, just doing different and consistently for a period of time. So you're interrupting the pattern. Krishnamurti has a wonderful book, Think on These Things. J. Krishnamurti is a philosopher who I've been studying for many years and whose work I very much align with, and it makes me very unpopular in any political conversation from any side because I have very open and they all get very upset with me. Anyway, Krishnamurti is all about freedom, ultimate freedom. Really, truly, ultimate freedom, as free as we can possibly be, understanding the universal laws that when you start to layer in the different wisdom-based texts, whether it's the Torah or the Bible or any of the Vedas or the sutras, you can see. Caroline Myss has a wonderful book called Anatomy of the Spirit, and she takes the chakras, the energetic system, so the Eastern um, energetic, moral, values-based centers that we have, and aligns it with the seven sacraments and the Kabbalah tree of life. And it kind of demonstrates these universal laws. Okay. So with those universal laws and the Yoga Sutras, those are the yamas and niyamas, right? We can look at it through that lens. And so Krishnamurti and Think on These Things, it's like, okay, so we have all of these factors in our lives that have formed our personal code of morals and values that we seek to live and align with. And hopefully, those morals and values align with those that are universal. Initially, they tend to be a little bit more materialistic. But that's life. We're in a material world, right? So we have to be careful about judging what we are judging, what we're not judging, and getting more clear about where we place values on things. So we get these patterns in our mind that we'll get attached on something that this is what is the greatest value. I hope I'm able to bring this all together for you. This is what is the greatest value, except for that when we zero in on one thing that we assign value to based on all of the collection of who we are and why we are, when we zone in on that, whether it's an attachment reaching for it or an aversion, something that we're trying to stay away from, we're closing out all of the other possibilities, which are infinite. And that's what we want to do. We want to clear the clutter of our mind that's deciding what's of value. So you'll start manifesting initially, for relationships, for financial security, for a home, for a move, for, any number of things, right? But eventually that manifestation evolves to things like, peace. I want whatever brings me a sense of peace. And I live in this world that I have to have money to live and, and it's a life of relationships because this is how we express all of these things. We're built for relationships, our physiological purpose, stress, the physiology of stress is for the purpose of connection, not like a baseline long-term stress, but like immediate stress. So, okay, so we're trying to clear the decks, we're trying to clear the weeds so we can plant the seeds and we can cultivate and grow. So back to Think on These Things by Krishnamurti. It's like, okay, so you see how we get stuck. We get these patterns of mind. They go in one direction. We get stuck on the goal. We're closing out. We know we've got to clear the decks. So we sit and we meditate. We change the thought. We change the action. We do not react. Now, pay attention here. When we have a thought that's met with an urge, it's because there's a very strong flow of energy. There's a deep pattern there. This is where our self-sabotaging behaviors live. This is where our addictions live, and we're all human. We all have addictions of all kinds. I mean, I've seen everything from addictions to hardcore drugs to drama. That's one of the most common addictions in the whole wide world is to drama. And everyone will say, I don't have addictions. It's okay. We're human. We're all human. But so when you get that urge that matches the thought, even the thought can be a glimpse of a minute and you're reaching for it. You're going, you're doing it, you're scrolling, whatever, right? That's a deeply patterned groove. And so we want to interrupt it. And the only way that we can interrupt it is by first becoming aware of it, by seeing it, because we can't unsee it. Once you see it, which is what we're striving to do in this determination sit, you're going to watch what happens up here. You're going to watch what happens up here. So you can see the flow, the urge, the inclination, the automation of the process. So you can start to interrupt it through a different action. So Krishnamurti, and Think on These Things, he says, imagine a snow-covered mountaintop. Imagine a snow-covered mountaintop and it's spring and that water is melting and it's running down the mountain. And there's like rocks and branches and sticks and trees, and they're all fixed in place and they're directing the flow of the water. And what happens? What happens when water runs over something continuously for an extended period of time? It carves a groove into it. It carves a groove into rock, into earth. And then it's now in a groove. There's nowhere else for it to go. It's going straight in that groove. So in order to stop it, you have to put something in its way to interrupt it. And then what happens? The water fans out in all directions. So this is what we're working on doing with the patterns of our thoughts. So in a determination meditation, what we're striving to do, what we're going to do, you're going to do is you're going to hold yourself in observation through discomfort and see and observe with the seeds of compassion. Look, like One of the best things I can share this type of practice um, supported me in doing in my life was seeing how I was in my relationships and being able to, when I would see myself, say, wow, I'm doing that. I'm bringing that into my relationship and swinging it around to, my partner is triggering me, my partner needs to change this when, our triggers are not things that everybody that we're in relationship with needs to change about themselves. Our triggers are things that we need to heal within ourselves. And the people that we're in relationship with are there for us as we are for them and others to through relationships show us the things that we need to heal and the things that we need to overcome and the things that we need to forgive. It's not stuffing it down. It's seeking grace from the experiences that we have. And that is the evolutionary process of meditation. So that's kind of the macro goal, It's like you start to relate to others, humiliation becomes humility you know grudge holding goes away and is replaced with forgiveness and growth and with wisdom, and these are all the goal, I believe, in this human experience because it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And when you read poets like Lala and Rumi and Hafiz, and they're in these ecstatic, passionate experiences that you can viscerally feel when you read them, it's because they have moved through these processes, and you'll read like they'll say it's torment, it's torture, it's sacrifice, I'm burning, I'm on fire, right? Because and there's so many whys behind that. It's like, when I hear students say like, oh, I love my yoga practice, it's so great. And I used to, because I did, like standing on my hands was like, yes, look at me, I'm so freaking cool. And it was great. I built, some confidence, and it had all of its tools, but it's not what we're doing in yoga. Like when you start doing the deeper philosophical interior landscape self-awareness practices of yoga, when you tell people you practice yoga, it's more like it's like, it's like, oh, it's really hard, it's gritty. Um, but it's not for your comfort, it's for your benefit. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. If it were comfortable, it would be in your comfort zone. But consider this. What about your comfort zone is comfortable? It could be the fear zone, it could be the complacency zone, it could be the sweet zone. No problem. But it's a pattern zone, right? We're not supposed to be stuck in those grooves. We're not supposed to be limited. We're supposed to be expansive. So in these determination sits, where your goal is to sit and watch yourself. I'm watching the time. What time we started at 7? Okay, we have to get started. I have to stop chatting, but I really want to set you up properly. Okay. So moving into this long meditation practice, you really want to, you know, when you start to process things, you're going to have sensations in your body that you're going to want to fix. You're going to have conversations start in your mind. You're going to start like, your brain is going to it bounces. And we're going to set up, I'm going to give you a couple of anchors. One is going to be your breath, so that when you recognize that your brain has started to bounce around, or that itch on your face has gotten really freaking itchy, and you're not scratching it, you're not reacting, you're watching, you're not zeroing in on the itch, right? You're watching your attention to it. You're watching how your body tenses. You're watching your breath. You're getting real curious. You're noticing that like, oh, it's actually not permanent at all. Because for a moment there, I didn't pay attention to it and it wasn't even there at all. Okay. So you get to start to see the actual impermanence of things. And you'll catch a flow for a while and then you'll digress again and you watch. And the whole time it's just from that. It's like you're sitting back and you're watching a movie and you're watching your relationship to things, you're watching your judgment of things, you're watching your shoulds. Having like you're really intentionally sitting down and saying to yourself, like, I want to get to know you. Let's hang out. Let's see what's going on. No judgment. I need to see what this operating system is and what's happening. So when it comes up and it's getting in the way of the seeds that I'm planting, it's like, okay, so you got the weeds that we've got to clear out, and we're going to do that, right? And you're going to do that through meditation. And then you plant all of the seeds and you start to get little seedlings that grow. And then the bunnies come in and they want to start eating things. You got to catch the bunnies, or even better, instead of like shooing the bunnies away through continuing a practice daily, which will be super easy after this. You're going to be like, yeah, man, I'm going to sit 10 minutes every day, no problem. But you're not going to set lofty goals. You're going to set practical goals. But keep coming back to a daily yoga practice is the goal. Because now you're like, okay, I've got to like spread some red pepper flakes on my garden so that the bunnies don't come and get it, so that I don't have to then chase bunnies away. They stay away. You get what I'm saying? So it's like you do this, you have the observation of the patterns, you start catching those patterns before they show up, but you keep going with your meditation, especially even when you've made progress and you're like, yes, I'm celebrating wins. I've made great progress. Don't stop meditating. Big mistake. Don't do it because it's going to regress. And because each time you digress, what's the proper word for that? Anyway, each time that you do, that you go back to your meditation practice, you are now like reaching the next level, coming up off of the plateau and going up to the next level. So, it's like I really, really, really wish, and I failed at this with my kids, and I kick myself all the time with it, that I wish that we were taught to meditate daily with the same necessity as brushing our teeth, because you would never go out without brushing your teeth. It's disgusting. Your mouth smells, but we'll go out with like a shit attitude. It's not right. Okay, so I'm gonna set your awareness on the breath. I do want to open our meditation with um, this prayer of light. Okay. I'm going to set your focus on the breath, and then I'm going to offer you another anchor, because when you're in meditation, right? I've heard so many people say, like, I can't meditate, I can't stop my thoughts. No, you can't. But what you can do is give your mind one point of focus to put itself onto. And then every time your mind wanders off, you're bringing it back, you're redirecting it, you're redirecting it. And then eventually just become so completely and thoroughly aligned with this point of focus that like you don't have awareness of anything else. But for now, the goal really is just we're reeling in, we're reeling it in, we're reeling it in. Okay. So I'll set you up with the breath. I'm going to give you a mantra. You're going to just every now and again, I will come in and just give you a little cue. So I'm not just going to walk away and leave you silent. I will keep time for you. You don't have to worry about how much time. And we'll get started. So I am going to push pause on this recording. We are going to do a little bit of yoga movement. You don't need to see me. I'm not going to move with you. I'm just going to cue you. It's going to be really basic stuff so we can prepare the body. I'll pause you, take 2 minutes, use the restroom, have a drink. Um, when you meditate, you can sit on the edge of a chair. You can sit on the floor with your back against the wall. You can sit up on a block. It's best to have your hips elevated up over your knees, higher than your knees, it's easier on the knees. If you put yourself into a meditation shape that's causing pain or discomfort, like lower back or hips, that will become your primary focus in the meditation. It will be ultimately become your object of meditation. So don't do that, is the point. Make yourself comfortable, but not so comfortable that you're falling asleep. And again, I will continue cueing you because you can say to your mind, like, brighten up, wake up, and take breaths. And you do. You want to stay engaged in the process. So have a drink, use the restroom, make sure your phone is on do not disturb, prepare your meditation seat. We are going to move. We will meet back here in 2 minutes. I'm going to press pause on the record. Okay, I am back. So, go ahead and come to a child's pose. Um, so find your way to, you can start in hands and knees. I mean, we're going to go to hands and knees. So you're going to go from hands and knees to cat and cow to child's pose, back to hands and knees, back to cat and cow, back to child's pose. Do that a few times. So basically, like from a hands and knees shape, you're wiggling around, circling out your hips, your head, your neck, your shoulders. You're trying to get access on a lateral plane to your spine, kind of snaking it out. Rolling around into your joints, getting into your, the shoulder heads and opening up your chest and your neck. And it's a very organic movement. And do this in a way that it's like you're underwater. So you're not moving quickly. You've got the resistance of water. So you're moving really quite slowly and fluidly. Your body is mostly water. So see if you can kind of get into that tempo. And you're infusing these movements with breath. So you're breathing in and out through your nose if you have access to that to the best of your ability. And you're filling your lungs from top to bottom, front to back, side to side. If you settle back into child's pose, you can reach your arms, stretch them out in front of you, kind of like crawl forward on your fingertips as far as you can, and kind of dome up onto your fingertips, stretching the undersides of your arms. Really reach and kind of stretch your chest towards the mat, and then walk your hands, both hands, over to the left and stack your right hand on top of your left hand and breathe into the right side of the rib cage. Feel the intercostal muscles between each of the ribs stretch open and down the right side waist. Even lean your right hip over, towards the outside of your right heel even. And settle in. And then walk your hands over to the other side and the same intentional process. So we're really, there's this balance that happens of participation, of being intentional. And, as opposed to just flinging ourselves around and like waiting for good things to happen and, you know, saying things like, well, it's karma, like, well, yeah, but it's participation karma, or lack thereof, so being very intentional and then allowing and observing. And then bring your arms back to center and come to hands and knees, but your hips are going to stay directly over your knees, up over your knees, but then walk your arms out in front of you and crawl until like you start to come to a big back bend, reaching your chest down onto the mat. You can stack your forearms and put them under your forehead, but that can get crunchy in the back of your neck. So really see how far you can stretch, and you're seeking a stretch in the front of the spine. You can walk your chin a little forward And see if you can get a little stretch in the front of the neck, but make sure that you're not causing like crunchiness in the back of your neck. And breathe into the undersides of your arms. Breathe big into your abdomen. Let your belly expand and get big. Good. And then sink your hips back to child's pose. So use your hands to press you back and wiggle around on your way there and slide your hands, your arms back as if you were going to like cup your hands around the outer edges of your feet. Maybe you do. And let your shoulders sag forward. And watch your breath. Turn your head from side to side with your forehead down slowly. Maybe move your head in different directions, whatever feels good to you. And bringing your forehead to center, you're going to either hold on to the soles of your feet or your heels or the back of your ankles or even your calves. Your forehead is down. You're going to lift your hips and roll up and over the crown of your head, keeping the top of your head down. Don't go too far, just enough that you start to feel a stretch down the back of your neck. So you're holding on to your feet or your calves to support you. Your forehead is down, your hips come up, and you roll up onto the top of your head. Move the back of your head around a little, stretch the back of your neck in different ways, and then lower your seat back onto your heels and just turn your head to face one direction. And then turn it to face the other direction and rest. And bring it back to center and stretch your arms out and come to hands and knees again and take another moment or two in cat and cow pose. So you're just cat, cow, snake it out, wiggle, move your body, breathe into it. And then eventually tuck your toes and start to pedal your feet out, coming towards downward facing dog. But all of this is going to be really super organic, loosey-goosey. Let your heels rock over to the right and then like kind of straighten your legs and feel a stretch in the underside of the right arm. You can do whatever feels right for you here, and then pivot back to center and over to the left. You pivot your heels to the left and straighten your legs and feel that sideways stretch. And then go ahead and come back to center, and you're going to slow stroll your feet up to the outside of your hands at the top of your space. So your feet are going to come wide to the outside of your hands, and your hands are kind of shoulder width apart. And then bend your knees and lower your hips and come into a low squat. Your heels come up great, but try to press them down so you're stretching into the back of your calves and your Achilles, and rock your hips from side to side like you're really grinding into that pelvic girdle. And you can let your head dangle. You can press your left arm against the inside of your left knee and reach the right arm up and back and open, and then switch the sides, lower the right arm and press it to the inside of the right knee so it kind of helps spiral your chest, and reach the left arm and drop it open, swing it back, whatever. And come back to center of that squat, and then interlace your fingers and flip your palms and press up through the center of your palms. Press into your heels, come up to standing, inhale, and then exhale, palms at your heart, squat right back down. And you're going to do that 2 more times. So you'll interlace your fingers, flip your palms, inhale, stand up, palms together through heart center, exhale, squat down. 1 more time, fingers interlace, inhale, press up. Palms together, exhale, squat down. Good. Go ahead and come down to sitting on your bum. Bring the soles of your feet together. Knees come open and apart for Baddha Konasana. And kind of like press your elbows back into the inner groin on the right side. And then on the left side, and then kind of both sides and wiggle lengthen your spine forward, right? And try the pelvic tilt in both directions. Try like tipping your tailbone back and then tucking it under and kind of make some circles and wiggle around here. And then come on up to sitting and come into Sukhasana, easy seated cross-legged pose with like the right ankle over the left. And then stretch your right arm up and back behind you. Plant the palm behind your right sit bone. Reach the left arm up. Turn to the right. Take a breath and twist. Hook your left hand because you're in Sukhasana. So the left hand comes to the outside of the right knee. Okay. Your right hand's behind you. Your left hand is holding the outer right knee. Now listen, it's not a look because I'm not doing it. Reach your right arm up alongside your right ear and lean toward your left knee. Keep your left hand on the outside of the left leg. Reach the right arm alongside the right ear. Lean, turn, twist, reach, stretch. Take a big breath in. Exhale, release the left hand, relax the right arm, turn to face forward. Cat and cow spine, make some circles. And then switch the tuck of your legs. So left goes on to right, still Sukhasana, easy cross-legged, right under left. And now you're going to twist to the left. So your left arm is going to reach up and back and prop behind you. Your right hand is going to reach to the outside of your left knee, and you're going to start inhaling, building the length up in the spine. Exhaling, twisting. It becomes like poses become like the inhale is one, and think of moving your body from the inside out. So instead of from the outside to move the spine, think of moving the spine and moving the body from the inside out. And then get a good grip of the outside of the left leg with your right hand and stretch your left arm up alongside your left ear. Reach and bend over to the right. Let your torso spiral open. Let your right ear drop down towards the shoulder. Reach, twist, breathe. Take one more breath and exhale, unwind. Counter pose, move. Wiggle out your neck, your shoulders. Good. And then go ahead and place your feet flat with your knees bent in front of you. And you can do this with your legs straight or your knees bent. Reach forward, tuck your tailbone, keep reaching forward. Squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back, like you're squeezing a pencil or a pen between your shoulder blades. And keep that happening as you're reaching forward. You can bend your elbows and your chin comes kind of down and back. So you've got this nice strong spine, and feel the corset of your abdominals start to contract. Feel it around your hips. Be present. Breathe while you've got this strength. You're starting to lean back. You're starting to lean back. Keep your knees bent. You're reaching forward, and then come to lying flat on your back and hug your knees into your chest. And then take happy baby pose. So the soles of your feet face up and you reach. I like to reach forward and around to get the outer edges of your feet. And you're encouraging the tops of your legs down to the outside of your rib cage. It's like you're trying to tuck your knees into your armpits. And roll around. Think of the name of the pose, happy baby. Be playful about it. Yeah, it's sweet. Okay, and then extend your legs straight up. Now you can do this with your palms flat underneath your lower back. If that's what works best for you, do that. But have your legs straight and your arms down by your sides and your chin tucked and your shoulders relaxed, and find that corseting of your abdominals. It's like you're trying to hug the right and left side of your abdominals into the midline. Like picture lacing a corset up and like tightening it, trying to bring it all together in the midline. So ground your lower back down onto the earth or your hands, right? And pike your legs straight up. Now, point your foot. Keep your foot pointed and spread your toes, and notice how that energizes your whole entire leg. And your lower back is grounding down onto the earth, right? So there's all of this activity happening, right? But you're breathing. Now, press the front of your palms like straight arm into the tops of your thighs, like you're trying to push your legs down, but resist with your legs. Don't let your arms push your legs forward, but you're pushing. and you're really feeling this fire in your belly, press your lower back down, point your foot and spread your toes, press your thighs away. Now find balance and soften and breathe and be here now. Nowhere else. Right here, right now. Even in whatever it is that you're feeling, relax your neck, relax your shoulders, and breathe. And notice if you get to a point where it's like an all or nothing, I have to stop. Maybe every so often, can you just take your foot off the gas just a little bit? Instead of having to pump the great brakes, can you just back up a little bit? Refine. Maybe your feet got out of the program and so your legs are hanging like spaghetti. Reactivate, re-engage, participate, realign. Breathe, be intentional. Be here now. Okay. Hug your knees into your chest. Roll around. It's got to be uncomfortable. And I intentionally find things to do to make it a little bit uncomfortable because I have faith in you and I want you to cultivate faith in like, you know what? I could get through it. It's not supposed to be comfortable. Don't, like if you're trying to get away from discomfort, you're going to wind up disappointed more often than not. I mean, discomfort builds character. Working through discomfort builds character. It has purpose. So put your feet down, stretch your legs out, stretch your arms back, take a nice big full body stretch, wiggle around there however you need to. And then knees are bent, feet are flat. Anchor down and your feet should be about hip distance apart. You should be able to like walk your feet back until you can touch the backs of your heels with the tips of your middle fingers and feel your toes light and feel your inner arches light, but like all of the points of your foot that are on the floor are firmly connected, but lift your toes up, right? And then slide your tailbone underneath you and start to press your knees forward and your hips up and walk your shoulders underneath you and interlace your fingers and kickstand your arms down underneath you and scoot your shoulders underneath you a little bit more and really prop yourself on your arms. Keep lengthening your tailbone and pressing your knees and your shins forward and rolling your chin tucks and your neck starts to flatten out on the floor if that's there for you, if it's safe for you. And you're rolling your upper back open. So it's like there's a nice big curve in your upper back and your lower back to your knees is neutral. And breathe, especially expand your inhales. And then lengthen your exhales. And slowly, very slowly, from top to bottom, start to lower your spine down onto the mat. So there may be a movement or two that you want to do here. Take that. And then roll over onto your side, come back to hands and knees. We're going to energize this a little bit so that you're not going into your meditation like, oh, that's so relaxing. I'm totally ready to chill. No, no. Come back to hands and knees. Find your way to downward facing dog and kind of wiggle your tailbone around. Feel the Lucy in your body. Feel the strength in your core, right? Activate things. Feel the muscles hugging onto the bones. And then take a slow stroll, being present. Notice every sensation. Get your feet and your hands to come together. Okay. And then let your body hang like a rag doll. Soften your knees and roll yourself slowly up to stand. Watch that you're not dizzy. When you stack yourself all the way up and you come to standing, come to Tadasana like a tree, arms down by your sides. And let yourself acclimate to being upright. Good. Take a big breath in and let it out. And then inhale, reach your arms up, palms together. Let your eyes follow. Look up to your fingertips. And then exhale, fold forward into your legs. Good. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Keep your chin tucked. So it's like you're inflating from the back of your neck. You've got this nice long line from the crown of your head. Roll your shoulders back, kind of like, really feel the crown of your head extending, the point of the tailbone extending. Your legs are strong, right? Take a big breath. And as you exhale, really carve out your lower abdomen as you fold over into your legs, right? Exhale completely. Pause, hold the breath, and reach yourself all the way out and up to stand on the pause of breath. Arms come up. Inhale as you're standing. Arms reach up. Big breath in. Exhale, palms come together at the heart. Let's just do that sequence one more time, okay? Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Exhale, fold over into your legs. Good. Inhale, plant your palms against your shins and stretch your spine from crown of the head to tailbone. Exhale, carve out your lower abdomen as you fold. Carve it out, carve it out, carve it out. Give a little draw back and up. On the pause, come all the way up to stand. You're holding the exhale as you come up to stand. Palms together. Inhale, overhead. Exhale, bring your palms together at your heart center. Okay? Inhale, relax, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, step back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, hinge into an upward dog or a cobra. Please shrug your shoulders and then press down and shrug your shoulders and then press down and lower your knees, come back through child's pose. And then you are going to prepare to sit. So however, I'm going to start us with a prayer of light, a Kundalini prayer of light. I love this prayer. It's very special and near and dear to my heart. Um, from there, I'm going to walk you into the meditation and I'm going to hold space for you. I'll check in every few minutes, realigning you, supporting you, but for the most part, I'll be silent. Okay. When we finish the meditation, we'll move around again a little bit. You will be able to take your journals or you'll receive a recording of this. I will ask some journal questions for you to consider post-meditation integrating. But we will have time for Q&A at the very end. Okay. So find your meditation seat. Okay. You want to be upright or in a straight spine situation. And it actually really doesn't have to be upright. It just needs to be a position that you're not in pain and that you're not falling asleep. Okay. Because this is, meditation is a very conscious, active practice. One of the most that you'll do. Okay. So get all of the fidgets out. And take a couple of deep breaths in and let it out with your eyes closed. The first few minutes of meditation, I think it's reasonable to expect to need to kind of shift your body and refine. But once you settle into it, you're going to attempt to stay as still as possible. Again, not reacting to sensations, to urges and thoughts, to really pausing and asking yourself questions like, is it true? And am I attached? And what if I breathe? Um, so I will be giving you these cues throughout. It's probably a good idea to have a sip of water or something before you begin if you haven't already. Mm. Okay. Having water and tea. I'm going to start with the prayer of light. So you will silently just repeat to yourself after me. Peace before me, peace behind me, peace at my left, peace at my right, peace above me, peace below me, peace in me, peace in my surroundings, peace to all, peace to the universe. Light before me, light behind me, light at my left, light at my right, light above me, light below me, light in me, light in my surroundings, light to all, light to the universe. Love before me, love behind me, love at my left, love at my right, love above me, love below me, love in me, love in my surroundings, love to all, love to the universe. As you enter into this meditation, open your awareness in all directions, noticing, not reaching for, and not creating any story around, just noticing your environment, noticing the sounds, movements, the climate of the room that you're in. And you're not staying fixed on any one sound or one movement or any one sensation. Your awareness is open and aware in all directions, even the way the earth feels underneath you, just all of it. And then get a sense of yourself, your whole physical self sitting here, wherever your here is. Really notice yourself here and now. It's like you could visualize yourself sitting in this room, in this house or apartment, in this town or city. Like you really get a sense of yourself here in your life. And you're still aware of your environment while simultaneously being very intentionally connected and aware. It's be here now. And that's the mantra for the practice. If you need words, be here now, and contemplating, what does that mean to be here now? So anytime during this practice that your mind starts to get away from you, you can use that mantra to guide it back. Be here now. And you can contemplate each part of that. What does it mean to be? What's here? Really connect with what's here, what's now. When is now? And start to notice all of the sensations that are happening simultaneously in your body. Never at any one point is there any one sensation solely at play. The sensations are on the surface of your being. The sensations are internal. They're perpetual. Or are they? And you start to notice your mind. And how your mind has its own flow. And at the same time, you can engage it and place it where you want it to go. And at the same time, it generates emotions from thoughts and how really very complex it is. And you're just watching. And so if you're just watching your mind at play, who is it that's watching? And meeting that pure self-awareness. That's watching. It's observing. And it's the space that already is and yet to be anything and everything always and throughout. Pure potential, pure light, pure compassion, love. It's grace. You are grace. And you're observing the human stuff that's happening in you in this earth, in this life. Start to notice your breath and how your breath, you don't have to do anything to change it. It just breathes your body. Watch your breath breathing your body. And start to notice your breath right as it flows in and out through your nostrils, from your throat, from your lungs, through your throat. There's like these many little bones in the nose that kind of swirl and move the breath as it moves through the cilia, the little hairs in the nose, as it flows in and out through your nose. See if you can notice that very super subtle sensation of breath right at the base of the nostrils. And we seek subtle places such as this to make our object of meditation, because you have to really pay attention, giving the mind something to engage on. So, really identify this sweet, subtle sensation of breath, not with a grip of your mind or a reach, but a watch. And identify that as this is where I'm going to seek out, turning my attention to when a thought or a sensation I engage in a process. I'm going to redirect my mind. I'm going to interrupt the thought and bring it here. And if you need words, you reflect on be here now and what each of those words mean. Be here now. And you can also turn your awareness to link in with that seer, that pure potential place of spirit, that of soul that is watching the processes happen, watching the physical sensations, the thought, the breath, the choices, the linking, delinking, just sitting back and watching from that place. So redirect your attention back onto the breath at the base of the nostrils and allow yourself to settle in there. You're seeking to keep your mind focused on the sensation of breath at the base of your nostrils. But when thoughts come in or sensations that you want to or have the urge to respond to, kind of take note of that, but then redirect your mind back onto the breath. Noticing where your thoughts go. Noticing reactivity to sensation. You're accumulating tension in your body. Can you soften it? Redirecting your attention to the sensation of breath at the base of the nostrils. Redirecting your awareness back onto your breath every time you catch your mind wandering off. And if you're starting to sag, sit taller. If you're getting tense, relax. Find your breath. Noticing what your mind gets attached to, what it focuses on. And not so much the what, but how strong that focus, that pull can be. Noticing emotional responses to certain thoughts and relationships and stories to thoughts and sensations and sounds. You're really observing and noticing. It's just a moment, that noticing, and then you, without judgment of yourself or even of what it is that you observe, you redirect your attention back to seek out that subtle sensation of breath. And you'll re-guide your attention onto the breath over and over and over again without judgment, without self-criticism. Nothing is wrong with you. It's like lifting weights to build a bicep. You have to lift that weight over and over and over. Same thing, you're flexing the muscles, strengthening and making flexible the muscles of your mind. Find your breath over and over. Rest your awareness onto it. Should you need, you also have the mantra and contemplation of each part of it to lean into. Be here now. Should you need to interrupt a process of thought or something you're attached to, be here now. Re-engage in sitting tall, relaxing your body, and finding your breath. Oh, just starting to notice your breath getting a little bit deeper and a little bit longer. Maybe take a deep, long, full breath in through your nose and sigh it out slowly through your mouth. And just take a moment to sort of marinate on your experience in this meditation without any judgment, just kind of taking stock. Notice the sensation of your body sitting here, having an awareness of your physical self in your environment, in the room that you're in, wherever you are. Connecting again with the soul side of yourself. In the yogic tradition, we call it the seer. That's watching the mind, watching the body. It's separate and apart. It's the purest part of your being. Just bring an awareness there. And linking again with the mantra of be here now, what it means to be in the presence, your presence, you, all parts of you in presence, in the here. What is here? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? How are you experiencing it in your senses, and allowing yourself to be in the now, not leaning into memories from the past and judgments of the future based on the past or expectations, just right here and right now. All of the world is happening around you, and you're just right here, right now. And then once again, taking a deep, deep, deep breath in and sighing it out. And starting to invite some very small movements into your body. You can roll out your shoulders and your head and your neck. Be very small and gentle in your movements, keeping your eyes mostly closed. If you want to start blinking them open, that letting some light in, that's okay. And when you're ready, you can either open your eyes or keep them closed. I'm going to share some journal prompts. If you have a journal with you, you can go ahead and jot these down. Otherwise, don't worry about it. You're going to receive a recording of this meditation, and you can just come back to this end point of the practice and write them down. So, as you are clearing the weeds out and as you are planting seeds, you want to do so in a very slow, intentional, grounded, embodied. Disembodiment is when you're walking and you're looking at your phone at the same time. You're not in a space of connection. Embodied is when you're present with yourself. You have that sense of proprioception and awareness of yourself here and now, and in presence in the now. And this is the place that we strive to live from. And it's not easy. It's definitely not easy, but we literally strive to live each and every moment in the now, like literally every moment, not reflecting on the past or worried about the future. And not to say that we don't have like creative, reflective um thought processes. We do, but it's another thing to generally live in the now. So when you are, sowing these seeds, that's the place that you really want to center and ground yourself in. And before you start the process of seeking to manifest, and from this practice, you're going to ask yourself a few questions. Where in your life do you not feel safe and stable? Right? It's not so much about only what you're lacking in your life. Like where do you feel instability? Where do you feel that there's gaps? And why do you feel that way? What from your past causes you to feel this way? What residual stories are there? What led up to this? Where in your life do you not feel safe and stable? And what seeds of change do you want to plant for yourself? Do you want to sow for yourself? And when you're considering these seeds and these things that you want to plant and these things that you want to manifest, the thing is like it has to be really solely and only about you. It can't include anyone or anything specifically because you really don't know what the factors are that are going to fill in that gap for you. Okay, so you want to be very careful with that. It's a lot of I feel and me, and it's getting very centered into yourself. So what seeds of change do you want to plant and sow for yourself? What do you need to change within yourself? So what self-sabotaging behaviors do you do you have? What self-sabotaging beliefs come up? At what point do you stop yourself and start talking yourself out of things? Um, so that's the kind of stuff that, it's like, what is it within me? It's not like, well, but this in my life and this job and this boss and this partner and this, it's all about you. Okay? So it might not be so clear right out of the gate, but over time you'll start to see and observe yourself. And in these meditations, when you're watching yourself and the stories that you tell. And then when you recognize those self-sabotaging beliefs, patterns, behaviors, obstacles, what's your plan when it comes up, right? Because you want to replace a thought, you want to replace an action. You don't just want to leave yourself out there dangling and hanging in space, right? What's your plan? Where are you going to redirect your thoughts? What's an action that you're going to do? And you really want it. You can't, it's not enough. It makes it a lot harder to just catch yourself doing something and say, I'm going to stop doing that. This is why, like, sometimes you'll see people like they'll have like rubber bands and they'll like snap a rubber band, like, okay, I'm reprogramming, I'm doing something different. You could do a sun salutation, you could take a walk, you could, I would say one of my tricks was I would say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and then I would attempt to spell it. And it wasn't about whether or not I spelled it correctly. I have no idea if I've ever spelled that mishmash of letters correctly. It's not the point. It breaks the pattern. It breaks the urge. It stops the pattern and restructures and looks for like, well, what's different? You don't have to have an answer for what's different. You just start to see different opportunities. Okay. And then another journal question, and I kind of like to circle back around to this in all practices, is, what's something in my life that really hurt me or I feel like is working against me or someone or some circumstance or something, and journal about that. And then ask yourself, okay, but how did this work for me? What was I wanting? What was I reaching for? What was I striving for that really wasn't for me and wouldn't have served my purpose or all of this is to really be the best version of ourselves so we can show up and be in service um for humanity, in humanity. Makes sense. So that's the ultimate goal of all of this work is it's our birthright to be the best version of ourselves, to be in flow, to I'm not going to say be blissfully happy because it's not true. We suffer. We suffer because we love. We suffer because we care. And the amount that you suffer is in direct proportion to how much you love and you care. So we don't seek to avoid suffering. We flow through it. We learn. We grow. We get jewels of wisdom. We evolve, evolve. We evolve. And what a wonderful thing. Um, so that's the goal of all of this. And then we're able to be in relationship and come through with our dharma, our soul's energetic purpose, through our karmic experiences, so we can be in service to each other. And there are times that we're going to need a hand up, but there's a big difference of having a hand up and having a hand out. And sometimes we'll be reaching for a hand up, and sometimes we'll be holding our hand to help others up. And this is the purpose of all of these beautiful practices. So thank you so much. I hope and pray that this practice served you well. You can reach out to me, hello@sharemelly.com, if you have any questions. I'd love to hear your feedback. The real transformation and accountability happens inside of one-to-one. I do offer mentoring, as well as I have some wonderful group programs that are going to be coming up. So please keep your eye out for those, community and all of those wonderful things. And I also offer um, personalized custom meditation prescriptions. So keep a lookout for all of those things, and so many blessings and love and light to you. Thank you.